Good evening. My name is Phil Easter, historian and writer from Baltimore, Maryland, also known as the Amazing Memory Man. We're recording tonight on Monday, August 25th, 2025. This is story number 79 on my YouTube channel, which is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. Tonight's story is about the courageous woman athlete who overcame polio as a child and other illnesses too, such as scarlet fever and pneumonia, and went on to win an amazing 3 gold medals in track and field events at the 1960 Rome Olympic Games. As a matter of fact, it was exactly 65 years ago today, August 25th, 1960, was the opening ceremony of the Rome Olympics. And as I have studied Olympic history very well for many years, the Rome Olympics I really consider probably one of the 5 greatest summer Olympic Games ever held. And there were many other interesting athletes besides Wilma Rudolph from the United States. Also, a young boxer from Louisville, Kentucky, 18-year-old boxer named Cassius Clay at that time, who won the light heavyweight gold medal in boxing. And a few years later, of course, when he turned professional, he adopted the name Muhammad Ali. But at the time of the Rome Olympics, he was called Cassius Clay. Also, a great track and field athlete on the men's side was Rayford Johnson, a decathlon athlete. That incredible event of 10 events in one over a 2-day period. He won the gold medal in the decathlon competition. And a runner from Ethiopia named Bekele won the marathon in a record time, running barefoot in the streets of Rome, many hard cobblestone streets of Rome. The young soldier from Ethiopia ran the 26.2-mile marathon, and he would win the marathon again 4 years later in Tokyo, 1964. So many interesting personalities at the Rome Olympics. But Wilma Rudolph, she was born in East Bethlehem, Tennessee on June 23, 1940. A family of 22 children in that family. And they were poor, very poor. And as I said, when she was a child, she contracted several illnesses and for some time had to walk with a leg brace. The polio was a terrible disease for many years in the United States. And most of the doctors thought she could never, walk properly. How could she ever do sports? It seemed to be out of the question. But she did overcome that illness. And even at the age of 16, she made her first U.S. Olympic team that went to Melbourne, Australia in 1956. And she was part of the USA relay team that won the bronze medal. So that was a great achievement right there, even winning a bronze medal in the Olympic Games for what she had gone through already in her life. But she went to college over the next several years and ran the college track meets, and then in 1960 made her second Olympic team that went to the great city of Rome, the Eternal City, as it's called. They used to say all roads lead to Rome in the great Roman Empire days, and certainly Italy put on a wonderful Olympics. The Italian organizing committee made a change from all the previous summer Olympics held before that. The great sport of track and field usually began the day after the opening ceremony at previous Olympics. But around 1960, the track and field began about the 5th or 6th day after the opening ceremony. Gymnastics and swimming were the first week. And ever since, all the summer games since that time, including the 2 I saw in person, Munich, Germany, 1972, and Montreal, Canada, in 1976, the track and field competition begins about the 5th or 6th day of the whole Olympics and runs just about to the very end. So in Rome, Wilma Rudolph won the 100-meter dash and also the 200 meters, those individual races, as well as part of the U.S. relay team that won the gold medal. So she won 3 gold medals in track, without question, the outstanding female athlete of the 1960 Rome Olympics. And the next year, on April 14th, 1961, she was invited to the White House to meet the new president, John F. Kennedy, the young president who was elected the year before in November 1960 and took office on January 20, 1961. I'd like to mention that briefly that my dear mom, she attended that inauguration on January 20, 1961. I was just 8 years old, and I watched that on TV at the house of friends we knew at the time. But my mom went over there on that cold winter day and attended the inauguration of President John F. Kennedy. But then just a few months later, on April 14th, Wilma Rudolph was invited to the White House to meet the president. Just a wonderful occasion. And years later, in 1980, Wilma Rudolph gave a lecture here in Baltimore at a women's college called the College of Notre Dame. Since it is now called university, even though it's a very small university, only about 1,000 students. It must be one of the smallest to have a university status, but at that time it was still called the College of Notre Dame in 1980. She gave a lecture one night there, and I attended that lecture, and afterwards I walked up and met Wilma Rudolph in person. Just a wonderful, amazing woman who overcame those childhood illnesses to win 3 Olympic gold medals in Rome, 1960. Wilma died on November 12th, 1994, just 54 years old. But throughout her life, she made many public appearances and inspired many people, who have different types of struggles in their life, to do your best. And what she achieved was just remarkable. Wilma Rudolph, one of the greatest track and field athletes in Olympic history, an inspiring story of how she overcame illness and won 3 Olympic gold medals. This is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. We will see you next time for story number 80, another story on another subject. Thank you and good night.